Happy Friday, everyone. In this video, I got the technicals that you absolutely need to see from around the market. I am Dr. Stock, Doctor of Education. And do you know what has always bothered me about TikTok Croc? Captain Hook lent him a hand, and that crocodile never returned the favor, even though he literally had the time. All right, we're going to take a look at 4 of the ETFs that track the major indices out there, the S&P, the Nasdaq 100, the Dow, and then also the Russell 2000 stocks. I have some updates to give on Bitcoin, Nvidia, and Tesla. And then I'm going to talk a little bit about big tech at the end as a bonus for you guys, just to share some of my thoughts there as well. Here we're looking at SPY in the pre-market hours. We are finding a support yesterday. We closed at 552, which is this 20-day support that you see this bounce off of. In the pre-market hours, recovering just a little bit, so we want to be watchful for that to see that 20-day support hold. Keep your focus on that. That is a part of the Bollinger Bands that we have on here, that 20-period simple moving average. And then I have these actually set to 3 standard deviations, which if we get up there or down here, that can be a massive opportunity for a turnaround. But in the meantime, more relevant to right now, that 20-day support, we want to watch for that to hold. And then to the upside of this, we have some exponential moving averages. We want to see us get back on top of those. If we fail to break back up over those, and instead we dangle off of them, we can get continued selling pressure pushing us down below that 20. Then we want to watch the 50-day EMA and SMA for support. QQQ, very similar look that we have here, only if I put the Bollinger Bands up here, what you'll notice is that we're down below that 20-period support. We actually crossed down below it on Wednesday. Thursday I had that full candle close, a second one down below it. Didn't quite make it down to the 50s here, but I said if we made it down there, that it could be a really good time that we could see things reverse on us. So let me quit dancing the chart around on you. I just want to make sure we get a good view for what we have going on here. I put this line on here for about 480-ish is about where we saw support and resistance historically going back through June, and we came down, we tagged that, and then you can see the buying pressure that we got right around 480, allowing us a bit of a bounce. We need to make it back up over that 20-period simple moving average to have further upside on this. The exponential moving averages right now are suggesting that we could continue downward for a little bit. The RSI is just barely below 50 as of yesterday's close. So keep an eye on that for the Qs. Netflix put out their earnings yesterday in the pre-market, getting a bit of a bounce. I talked about that in last night's video. If you haven't watched it, you can go back and watch it and see more of the details that I put out there. It was just from the earnings themselves prior to the earnings call. So you can see that right now, not the most negatively received, not the most positively received. We are down below the 50 EMA and SMA, even in the pre-market hours. That's the blue line and the red line that you see on here. And that price action is right about at it. So there's a possibility that we do go a little bit lower. Watch these for support if that happens. If we break up over them, we could have further upside, possibly going back up and trying to see if we can break that $700 mark in the near term. But if tech continues to correct, then that's something that's going to make it harder to get there for Netflix. Moving on from that into the Dow. So here we go, DIA, which tracks the Dow. Came down to the 5-period moving average, selling actually a little bit lower, right at about the 5-period moving average, even though we bounced off it a little bit yesterday. So we want to watch that for further signs of selling. And then over here for IWM, we took a nice bounce at about 218. And then in the pre-market hours, we're still up above 218. We'll see if we bounce on that one. And we want to watch for about a 50% retracement on that. So maybe up to 220, 221. Well, actually, if we go from the top to bottom of this, so 226 down all the way to 217, so that's a $9 difference. So yeah, about 221 be about right if we go peak to trough on that one in the near term for IWM. And I think that there could be some excitement, some volatility still going on with the Russell 2000 stocks. I think that we have maybe some joy still ahead of us for that. And I think we have a lot more pain coming for it before the dust settles. Then we have our really big rally that sends us up to those all-time highs that we see up here. So pain train, don't know if it's done yet. We'll find out, especially between now and the election. But after the rate cuts start, and if we get a sell-off that follows that time, and then we want to be looking for, okay, where's the bottom of this thing? Where's support, dollar cost average, whatever it is. Not financial advice, just ideas that I have, ways that I'm thinking about playing IWM as it tracks the Russell 2000 stocks. So if we get significantly low rates, that can be a good time for those small cap stocks to really rally. So moving over to Bitcoin, this is Bitcoin's hourly chart. Got ourselves a consolidation pattern. Watch which part of this we break out of. Right now, 64,000. If we go to the daily chart on this one, daily, there it is. Daily chart on this one, we had a high top wick back here. We got a moment of indecision yesterday. And yesterday when I recorded, this candle was still forming up. We were down below the 50-day simple moving average. Let me actually adjust this because as of today, we're now above it. That's a bullish thing. That should be green for us. So we got that moment of indecision yesterday. Today, if we get strong volume, nice candle here, that indecision could tell us that that price action is going to appreciate rather than fall from where we're at right now. So we're going to be watchful for that for Bitcoin. And remember that Bitcoin goes on throughout the weekend. It doesn't ever really stop, unlike the markets that we have regularly for the stock market. So Nvidia, check out Nvidia. This is the 5-minute chart. I don't know, I'm all the way down at 5 minutes. Let's go up to an hour on this one, and then we'll do this for you guys so you can see this with a little bit less noise. And we actually, looks like, if I extend this range that we have over here so you can see a little bit more of what's going on, it looks like we are actually getting some buying pressure pushing up this way. I wouldn't be surprised to see this thing break back up over that near-term trend line resistance that we have. So if we're able to stay up above this line that it looks like we're forming with these prices here, this coming down this way, a little bit of consolidation, stuck in the range, we might actually get that push that sends us back up to 125, 126. We're going to have to watch for that. If we get rejected and sell down, then we're going to go back towards these historic support areas, which is also, holy cow, where is that? There we go. We also have 50-day EMA and SMA support. If we went out to the daily, you would see it there. There's a lot of buying pressure that happens in here. We'd have to melt through that to see a lower push down for Nvidia. If we get a triple bottom on this, that is also something that can be a very bullish thing. So watch for these trend lines to be broken. Watch for them to break to the upside. That could allow the price to appreciate in the near term for Nvidia stock. And with that said, we have one more, and then I want to talk about big tech in general. Tesla had this consolidation pattern. It broke out of it to the downside. We could continue down on this. We need to break down below 247 for that to happen, to break out of this range that it's been trading in since Monday. So this week-long range that we have going on, today could be that day. But like I said, let me move that out of the way for a moment. You can see we broke out of the bottom of the consolidation pattern, but we are still stuck in the range at the moment. If 247 fails on us, that could be the thing that sends us down to that 231. But we do have some stops in between, such as 242 would be another area where you would find that. 231 just happens to be rather significant support where we find significant buying pressure, as you saw back in here. So earnings coming up on Tuesday. So we only have 3 trading days until the earnings come out. So that's today, Monday, and Tuesday. And the after hours Tuesday is when we hear from Tesla. All right, so Microsoft. I want to start off with this one for other big tech stuff. I know I talked a little bit, but I want to focus on the earnings side of it. So Microsoft had some yucky news about outages from cybersecurity software, CrowdStrike. If you look at CrowdStrike stock, here I'll put it up for you on screen real quick, massively down in the pre-market hours. And that actually might recover, especially with the 200-day there. Not really great grounding planes and really halting a lot of things in the business world, travel world, you name it. So not great for CrowdStrike. And it has corrected a little bit. It may have been a little bit overdue for a correction. This is one of the leaders that you have in cybersecurity. And they've really had quite a time of it from the bottom, $92 a share. And then they went up to almost $400 per share. So they 4x'd over that time. So this is still, even with that drop, somewhat a relatively small correction in that comparison. But if you were in here at the top of this thing close to 400, this is very painful, as that's about a 25% drop from its peak. So that's what's going on there. But back to Microsoft. So that's the issue that's actually plaguing Microsoft right now, because it was a Windows-only issue. It didn't affect Linux. It didn't affect Mac through CrowdStrike. So this is something that's pushing down the price in the pre-market down to 434. But importantly, look on here. Let me get rid of the Bollinger Bands. We don't need those right now. Look at the red line you have and the blue line that you have here. Those are the 50 EMA and SMA. I think that we could probably retake those pretty easily off this news. What material impact do I think that the little oopsie that we had overnight would have from CrowdStrike on Microsoft? I'm going to guess that, when we talk about quarters or years worth of time, it's not going to have much, if any, material impact whatsoever on Microsoft. I think it's just way too huge of a company with way too much diversification. I think that this is something that pushes it down in the near term. And if that's really all it is and the rest of tech is bouncing, Microsoft could potentially bounce with it. So we need to be watchful for that. And it is currently in a bull channel trend. And so, well, we could even come down as far as support if we needed to, which would be down in these low 400 values. And this is one where then it could set up a nice range trade for us. And so we're going to have to look and see with the sort of correction that we might get from that. So Netflix reported earnings already. So that's the first. I have these over here in order of their earnings dates. So Netflix reported last night. Tesla and Google are actually coming up on Tuesday in the after hours. Google has been reporting around the same time as Microsoft, but that's not happening this time. So Google in the after hours on Tuesday, that's going to, in my opinion, really impact what we see from Microsoft. So we want to keep an eye on that as a potential catalyst, setting us up for what happens from Microsoft based on what Google tells us about search and AI development. And in any one of these from here on out, Tesla, Google, Microsoft, Meta, Amazon, all of them can affect what we see happening from Nvidia, which reports last out of all of these big tech names that I have on the screen here in front of you. So Google after hours on Tuesday as well. I'll put that up there for you. Microsoft isn't until the following week on Tuesday in the after hours on the 30th of July. And then we go out to Meta. They're on the 31st. And then Amazon is the 1st of August. Apple, I believe, is also the 1st of August. So Nvidia, I don't know, did they set their earnings date? There you go, Wednesday, the 28th of August. So we're not the middle of August this time. We're pretty much darn near the end of August. We only have 2 trading days left after that for Nvidia. And, we have to wait and see what we hear from the other big tech companies. In the past, they've told us about their aggressive buying and the appetite for AI infrastructure. And so we're going to be looking to hear for more flavor on that again. No news could cause some nervousness. Saying that they've slowed down or stopped building out their AI infrastructure would be horrible news for Nvidia, because that would cause a massive slowdown, and we'd probably have a pretty darn big reaction to that. If they do say that they continue to show aggressive buying, continued appetite for Nvidia products, of course, that can be a boon to Nvidia stock price. So we want to be on the lookout for that as well. So guys, if you want to see my buys and sells, hear more of what I have to say, talk with me and my community members, there's a link for the Patreon down in the description. You click that, sign up, join us over at the Discord where you can see those buys and sells and how I'm playing this market. And if you want to learn to do technical analysis trading like I do, there's a link for that down in the description as well. Go ahead and click that, sign up, and get access to hours upon hours of easily digestible pieces of information that can help you become a better technical analysis trader. Thank you guys for watching. I really do appreciate it. I am Dr. Stock, Doctor of Education. Remember, my friends, that learning is earning, and we'll see you in the next video.